on my sofa today, ready to talk about the best candidates to be the best of the best products on the market, the products that are worth considering buying, in my opinion, of course. So let's go through the latest releases, and I will refer to YZ 0315. I'll start with the trend. The trend for these holidays are golden tones that are actually cool tones. So no yellow golds, but cool tone champagne, greenish bronze colors. I can quickly go through a few brands that are actually proposing this trend. First, Tom Ford with the Soleil Neige collection, that is an amazing collection, but is underwhelming in real life. I'm talking about the Chalet Last palette. The palette is amazing on the pen, but unfortunately it translates sheerly. The shades are too similar to each other, so they look like just one color. So it's a totally waste of money. But on the pen, it's an amazing color story, to the point that I would like to replicate this color story by picking items in my collection, so making the best of the best version of it. And you can do the same. I encourage you to do the same, because you may have, better to say for sure, you have a better version of it already in your collection. It's a nice way to think about a new color arrangement and to create a color story that is trendy. So that's the first iteration. The second iteration is Pat McGrath in the quints that she has released for the holiday collection. There's one, I don't remember its name, but I will put a picture here. There's the one with, again, cool tone golds, a bronze and a darker shade, maybe a black. So that is intriguing as well. However, I won't pick it up because I don't like that formula. They said, okay, it's a new formula. I don't believe that. It's a normal pressed formula, and for me, they may put more silicone on it. They can tweak the formula and sell it as a new formula, but it's not substantially new. What I can see is the shimmer formula I'm used to. But anyway, I will skip that palette, because apart from that bronze shade, the other shades I'm not really interested in. But it's another repetition, it's another iteration of that cool tone golds that are proposed for the holiday. Another trendy palette that has a bit of that, and I may purchase this one, is the ANASTASIA Rose Metals palette. That is a weird variety. I think that they wanted to incorporate these trendy cool tone golds and bronzes. There's an amazing greenish bronze over there, and that's the shade that triggers my curiosity. It's my favorite shade on the palette, and the reason why I may purchase the palette in the future. But I will buy this palette only if I find it on sale with a good discount, because there's half of the palette that is still warm, and I think they chose to keep a bit of warm tones sell well. So they proposed as a mixture of the trendy cool tones, yellows and golds and bronzes, and those warm tones, oranges. Again, I see some repetition there. So I'm not intrigued by the color story as a whole, but I see very interesting shades and very trendy shades, quite unique ones. So yeah, I think I will pick this palette. I won't pick it up right now. Maybe for Black Friday. I will wait for Black Friday to pick it up. And the last iteration I would like to talk about is the Dior one. The Dior holiday collection has two palettes. One of these is made of those grungy golds, a bit dirty golds, antique gold, leaning cooler in tone. And this is a good palette again, but it's the standard Dior formula. I'm not sure if it is baked. For sure it's not baked gelée, not gel to powder. And for that reason, I only buy Chanel and Dior only when I find baked gelée products, because that formula is more expensive. I can justify paying the high-end prices for them. And also I think that the tones here are a bit too similar again. So I'm paying for a quint, but I end up getting a trio or a duo even. But I wanted to, propose you this comparison because it's a trend that I'm seeing for these holidays, and for sure is a trend that it may be worth replicating with things that you already have. Out of all these palettes, I think I will buy only the Anastasia one. Another great buy, and again I may wait for a sale for it, are the Hourglass holiday palettes. So the Tiger one, Elephant and Butterfly. So I'll say two unpopular things here. First of all, I think these are a great value, and the reason is that people usually compare the price of these palettes with the full sizes, but in fact, you get with these holiday palettes 6 travel sizes, 6 mini sizes of Hourglass powders, arranged in a convenient fashion. And yeah, you have 6 of them for the price of 4.5. So it's a great value instead. The fair comparison is with the mini sizes, is not with the full size. And with the full size, you only get one shade. With this, you have a sample of many shades. And on top of that, I only buy nowadays mini sizes from Hourglass. So in my case, it's much more convenient to buy the full palette for the holidays. Moreover, the holidays are the only time of the year where Hourglass proposes this kind of palettes. So if you miss this palette, then you may want to try a Hourglass powder later on. You only have the choice of the mini sizes or the full sizes, and but this I think is convenient because again you have an arrangement of colors. Sometimes having a variety, it's much more convenient. You don't have to open a lot of cases. So for me, it's a great value. And this year in particular, Hourglass outdid itself because it proposes 3 palettes for 3 different skin tones. And I like the inclusivity for darker skin, but also for fair skin, because the Butterfly is also very inclusive in the sense that it's catered towards fair skin tones. Instead, in the past, Hourglass has always stayed in the middle. And the Elephant palette is something like we have seen in the last years, but the Tiger palette and the Butterfly palettes are worth buying depending on your skin tone. And in my case, actually, that are unfair, I will pick the Butterfly palette because it has a lot of repeats shades, and I think it will be unpopular. I'm sure it will go on sale on deep discount, while I can expect the Tiger palette to be sold out because I think it's the most popular one. And those are actually my favorite. The Butterfly palette, because it has 3 fair shades with different undertone, and it's amazing to have them in the corner. The other thing that makes this palette unpopular, and also I don't like from that palette, is that the 2 blushes are too similar to each other. So actually buying the Butterfly palette is like buying a trio, a fair powder, because let's keep it real, the 3 fair powders have different undertones, but they look quite similar. So I don't think it's a great value to have 3 different undertones. However, I like that's my unpopular opinion, so I like that. But I don't like that the 2 blushes are so similar. So the 2 blushes are like having 1 blush, and then you have the highlighter. So you have only 3 different powders, I have to say, instead of 6. So yeah, I need a 50% discount, but yeah, even a 30%, I think I can wait till to get a 30% discount to get that palette, the Butterfly palette. The Tiger palette, on the other hand, can be my perfect summer palette when I want a bronze look. And I'm particularly drawn to that burnt orange blush that I think is an amazing shade and quite innovative in the Hourglass offer. So yeah, for that blush alone makes the palette for me. I like 3 shades out of the 6, honestly. But yeah, I think I will buy that Tiger palette. The Elephant palette instead, yeah, is what we have already seen in the past from Hourglass. It's not as intriguing as the other 2, and I will skip the Elephant. But it can be the perfect purchase for you if you don't have Hourglass powders in the past, you have a medium skin tone and you want to try them. So it depends on your skin tone. It can be a good palette for you, not for me. Another interesting quad is the Tom Ford Velours Kaki. I haven't tried the formula, but from what I'm seeing in the videos, I find that that formula can be a bit aging. It emphasizes lines. I don't like that effect. And so for that reason, why should I buy that expensive palette in that formula if I don't like the looks I'm seeing in the videos? So, but for this color story also, I find the 2 olive greens to be too similar to each other. I don't see a lot of contrast. So not the best buy. I like the taupe, but then you have a cream shade, cream nude, orangey shade that is quite usual. So yeah, to me it's not worth the money, and for that reason I will skip. But it's interesting palette. I was drawn to it in the beginning, but then when I look into it, I realized it was not worth. Suqqu pre-holiday collection. I like the cool tone palette the most, and I think is a great color story. But I didn't have fortune with a similar color story from Tom Ford. It's not the same. The blue is different. The purple in Tom Ford is more cool toned. But the whitish shade in Tom Ford as a pink reflect, instead here as a blue reflect. But all in all, it wasn't for me. I decluttered that palette and I won't do the mistake again. It looks a bit 80s. I like the inspiration behind this palette, but no, for me, I would have picked it up if it was easier for me to buy, and if I didn't have to pay extra fees to import this palette. But since it's not available in Europe, or it's not available at Cult Beauty, that is the only retailer that does not charge extra to import this palette in Europe. So since it's not available there, I won't buying it. And honestly, this is the reason why. I don't want to pay 100 euros for a palette that I will maybe end up decluttering, since it's not my color story. And yeah, this is actually my explanation for that. Sticking with Suqqu, the holiday collection, that is the Japanese collection. Again, it's a no for me, easy pass. It's too warm and shades that we have seen before, so nothing revolutionary. I don't like the color stories in the latest releases, so it's a skip for me. Too much money and it's not worth, simply. So that is also intriguing because it's Suqqu and it's my favorite brand, but I'm not liking the latest releases, so it's a pass. So to recap, the things that I will purchase, but only if I found a good discount, are the Hourglass Holiday palettes and Anastasia Rose Metals palette. Those are candidates to be very good and innovative. Good in the formula and innovative in color stories. And the rest, for one reason or another, are not worth enough to invest my money on them. But really inspiring to look at my collection and replicate some of the color stories. I have a dedicated video about Suqqu. It's my first video ever, and I will encourage you to have a look at that video after this. So let's meet up in that video. Bye bye.